Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Yasmin and I am 18 years old. So if you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you would already know that I am currently a second year university student at Mcgill University. And again, I've actually mentioned this before, but I currently am in a sorority on campus. I'm in Alpha Omicron Pi, so yeah, I'm wearing this sweater to represent. But anyways, I rushed and I joined aoii in fall 2019, so that was the first semester of my first year, and the reason I rushed was to find a home away from home, and I've been so blessed to be able to actually find that in aoii. And I know that so many girls out there are going to be rushing this semester for the same reason, looking for the same thing. And you know, given the current situation in the world, rush week definitely does look much different than it normally would. So I actually did get the chance to recruit both in person and virtually, and the process and the experience is definitely different for both the recruiter and for the person rushing. But since winter recruitment is coming up, I decided to put together a few tips that could help make the process of virtual recruitment a little bit easier, or just some tips and tricks and little things that could make a difference in your own experience. Okay, so right before I get straight into this video, I just wanted to say, if you guys are looking for more college related, uni related, fashion, beauty, advice, health and fitness, literally anything, it is on this channel. So make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification button so you guys get notified every single time I make a post. Okay, so my first tip is to sign up as early as possible. And the reason that I say this is because normally there's more demand for spots in a sorority than there is space available in a sorority. So the earlier you sign up, the earlier sororities get to see your application, and obviously that's a big advantage if there's limited space. Now, this doesn't necessarily guarantee you a spot, but especially during winter recruitment, sometimes sororities finish recruiting earlier than others, and if you don't sign up early enough, you might not even get the chance to talk to some of them. So that's why I say sign up as early as possible, just so you have the opportunity to at least meet all of the sororities, to like check out all your options. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about a few basic things that aren't requirements, but they're things that can serve as a positive thing, or things that can just make a difference. So the first thing is your setups. So since you're going to be meeting girls over Zoom, the first impression they get of you is the setup that you're in. And this doesn't mean that you have to be in some fancy office. It can totally be in like a casual environment. Like I usually have my calls in this environment, but the important thing is that whatever environment you're in is not distracting and not messy. You want it to be clean and appealing, and that's because you want the focus to be on you and your conversation, not the pile of clothes in the background on the floor type of thing, you know what I mean? Next, setup is also about lighting and angles. So for me personally, I love that when I'm recruiting a girl, if there's good lighting, because I feel like I can see her face, I can see her facial expressions, everything's bright and pretty and nice. And you know, with angles, it's the same thing. It's really not that deep. It's more about just don't be way too far from the camera so we can actually hear you. Don't be way too close to the camera, because I mean, I don't know, maybe that's uncomfortable for the both of you. But if you aren't too sure about like how to set up like your lighting and your angles and things like that, I mean, you can always have like a practice Zoom call with like a family member or a friend, just so you can like play around with lightings and angles, just so you can see how you feel comfortable and what feels best to you. And at the same time, I would honestly recommend having practice Zoom calls anyway, because it'll help get you more comfortable with having a friendly conversation or getting to know someone through a screen, because we all know how like awkward Zoom can get sometimes. So it really could serve as like a positive thing for you to have practice Zoom calls and really get comfortable in front of the camera or just talking to someone on a screen. So my next tip is to eliminate any sort of distraction. So if you're gonna be having your virtual call on your desktop, make sure your Facebook isn't open and your WhatsApp isn't open, and you just don't have notifications ringing halfway through your conversation. And same thing with your phone. phone, make sure your phone's on do not disturb. You just don't want to have these little things distracting you in the middle of the conversation. And at the same time, if you have like family members or friends or roommates or other people in your space, like outside your door, make sure they aren't like yelling or talking too loud, or just tell them beforehand not to barge in your room, and just like respect your space, because again, you want this conversation to be about you two and the bonding and the connection, and you just want to eliminate as many distractions as possible. And speaking of roommates, if you are living with someone who's also thinking of rushing and you guys are in the shared space, something that you could do is you could both just get some earphones or get some headphones so you guys are having separate conversations, or like just in general, just to have your own privacy when you're rushing. Another way you can actually eliminate distractions is my next few tips, and that is to keep necessary things around you. Like if you're gonna be on your laptop, make sure your charger is near you, because you don't want your laptop to just die halfway through the conversation. Make sure your water is near you, because trust me, you are going to be talking so much and you really are gonna need to be taking sips of water here and there. And I would say you should have this with you anyways, because usually when recruitment is in person, like we would serve you like a glass of water anyway, because we know you're gonna get thirsty halfway through. And yeah, it would just be best for you to like keep a bottle of water, like a glass of water near you. Okay, so my next few tips are going to be about your conversation. So the whole point of these calls is because the sororities want to get to know you. So you need to be prepared to answer questions about yourself. Questions like, what is your major? What are your interests? What do you see yourself doing in the future? Are you involved in any co-curriculars? Are you in any clubs on campus? Do you want a leadership position? Why did you choose university here? Why did you decide to rush? There are literally so many questions that they could ask you about yourselves, but you need to be prepared to talk about yourself. And what I would say is be as descriptive and as detailed as possible, or just, feel free to talk about yourself, because in the end of the day, if we're being honest, you are going to get 1, maybe 2 calls with these girls. So that's like 1, maybe 2 chances for them to get to know you, and like you might as well take your time and like let them get to know as much as possible about you. But whatever it is that you're saying, in whatever way you're saying it, the most important thing is that you're being honest and you're being straightforward, because obviously everyone wants to present their best selves, which is totally fine, but what's important is that you make sure it's also your authentic self, because trust me, it's really easy to see through like a fake personality or like a fake conversation. And even if you do manage to fake your way into a sorority that you really wanted to get into, you're not going to be happy, because the bond between you guys isn't going to be between them and your true self. So yeah, that would be my number 1 tip, is just make sure you're being honest and make sure you're being yourself, especially because like the recruitment process it's perfected in a way that you will end up with the sorority that is right for you, even if it's not the one that you think you wanted. Okay, so next, recruitment is about what makes you unique. So I would 100% recommend you guys come to the meetings with talking points in mind. Like, have things in mind that you want to talk about, things that you think make you stand out, things that make you unique, things that can help them get to know you better, but also things that you think make you special. Like, for example, for me, something that I talked about so much was my blog. So if you guys don't already know this, I do have a lifestyle blog, and the link is in the description box below, and you guys should totally check it out. But anyways, at the time when I was rushing was like around the time where I just started my blog. So that's what I ended up talking about. I talked about how I have so much passion for writing and advising and trying new things and like trying to influence, and how my end goal is to like be an entrepreneur and build a brand, and in a way build a name and a base for myself. I also talked about how I literally grew up as a theater kid, and I was so passionate about like ballet and hip hop and contemporary and acting and singing, and how all of those things led to me participating in a couple programs that led me to sign with agencies and audition for roles on TV, and like a bunch of different things that I feel really represented me in a way, because those were my passions and those were things that actually mean a lot to me. And for you, it's the same thing. It could literally be anything you want it to be, as long as you feel like it's unique to your story or represents you in a way. Okay, so next, since we're talking about how recruitment is about what makes you unique, and it's a big part of it is mostly all about you, let's talk about COVID. So it's bound to come up in your conversation one way or another, because obviously this is literally what's happening in the world. But make sure like you are able to steer the conversation and take it where you want to take it, because trust me, the whole topic about COVID can eat up your conversation like this. And that's the thing, like I said before, you realistically are only gonna get one, maybe two calls with these girls, and you don't want to be missing out on an opportunity because you're spending your entire chance, your entire conversation talking about COVID. So, you know, again, this like links with having talking points in mind. Like you can switch it up when you feel like you want to or if you have to. Okay, so next, as much as recruitment is all about them wanting to get to know you, it is just as much about you wanting to get to know them. So you shouldn't only come prepared with answers, you should also come prepared with important questions that are gonna help you figure out what type of sorority, you know, what type of sorority they're like, what kind of things they do, like what their philanthropy is, what different things they're involved with on campus, what kind of activities they do together, you know, just things that'll better help you picture yourself in that sorority. Like, is this the kind of sisterhood I want? Is this what I'm looking for? Is this a sorority I see myself being in for the rest of my life? So an example of some questions that you can ask, which are also questions that I've been asked in the past a lot, are like, you know, what's your favorite aoii memory? How do you feel like being in a sorority changed your university experience? Do you feel like being in a sorority helped give you a support system during the pandemic? Are you guys involved with any clubs on campus? Or how are your relationship with other sororities? How are your relationship with each other? What type of things do you do together? You know, there are literally like endless questions, but come prepared with them. Trust me, you really are gonna need it. And also, I really would advise that every time you're done getting on a call with a girl, then I 100% will recommend you take notes on exactly what you liked, everything you guys talked about, what you learned about them, things that you already didn't know. And the reason that I say this is because you're probably gonna be having a lot of conversations, and especially when you're talking about yourself a lot, it's gonna feel very repetitive. So you want to make sure you're able to jot down exactly what you like to be able to make the most informed decision possible, because trust me, sometimes you'll just think to yourself like, okay, I know which two sororities I like, but I can't remember which one I like more. I can't remember what makes them different from each other. So yeah, guys, take notes. But anyways, like we said, since you want to get to know them better, a way you can do that is by actually stalking their Instagram. And I don't mean judge them based on how pretty their aesthetic is or whatever. What I mean is you can actually get to know a little bit more about their relationship just through their Instagram, because something you can do is like you can look through their comment section. You can get to know them a little bit better by looking through their comment section and seeing how they interact with each other, because you can generally tell much about them just through that. You know, is this sisterhood real and genuine, or is it just for show? Okay, so the last thing that I'm gonna be talking about is your appearance. And no, I do not mean that sororities are gonna be judging you based on how pretty you are. I don't mean that at all. What I mean by appearance is how you want to present yourselves to them. So usually in in-person recruitment, because it's like a whole week and you'd be seeing them in person and everything, there would be like a dress code, and on different days you'd wear different things. So like for us, some days we had to wear like cocktail dresses, and some days we're like business casual and things like that. But now, since it's like online or like on Zoom, I mean, obviously there isn't like a dress code and it like doesn't really matter, but they still can't see your upper body, so the focus is over here. So you could totally like wear fun tops that are cute and flattering, but whatever it is, the most important thing is that you're comfortable in whatever you're wearing and it feels right to you, because again, this all goes back to being your authentic self. That's the most important thing. And the same thing goes with hair and makeup. Like, only do what feels good to you. Because, for example, if you're the type of person who normally prefers not to do your hair, then don't do your hair. If you normally prefer not to do your makeup, don't do your makeup. Like, only do what feels good and feels right to you. I mean, a lot of the times you'll go online and you'll search tips just like this one, and they'll tell you, oh, don't wear too much makeup, don't not wear any makeup, you know, make sure your hair is out of your face. And like, yeah, I get it, these little things, but in the end of the day, coming from my perspective as someone who does recruit, you know, we're not going to be judging you on how stylish your top is or how well your makeup is done or just like your appearance in a superficial way. What we care about is that you're feeling confident and comfortable and happy, and of course you do want to look presentable, because in the end of the day you are making a first impression on someone, and you are going to be presenting yourself in front of like a group of people that you potentially want to be with for like the rest of your life. So obviously, yeah, you are going to want to be presentable, but the whole point of this is do it in a way that feels good to you. Do it in a way where you feel like yourself. I have repeated that so many times, but I'm repeating it for emphasis because trust me, that is the most important thing. But anyways, that is the end of today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed recording it. I really do hope these tips help you out if you guys are going to be going through rush week. And for everyone who is going through rush week, I hope you guys find your forever home like I have been so lucky to have found in aoii. I feel like I always do this. This is actually my second video about sorority stuff basically, or sorority recruitment. So if you guys are interested in my personal rush experience, which was in person in fall 2019, I will link that in the description box below. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with any of your friends who are going to be rushing this week. I'll see you guys next week.